Would you rather be an X-Man or an Inhuman?
No. Would you rather be a mutant?
Yeah.
Or so is it better to be an Inhuman or is it better to be a mutant?
Me personally,
Right.
I kind of go against mutants
Wow.
being one simply because it was so much pressure
Right.
to be a mutant because you was an outcast. You was something different
By society, they
than other people.
demoralize.
Your own family, you was different.
And so if you're an Inhuman,
If
you
you
had
was
your
in-
own place.
You had your own
be
place, and
accepted.
everybody was just like you. It wasn't I.
And then what do they call it? Atlan? Adeline?
Atlan.
It wasn't I.
Right.
If you had wings or you had hoof feet.
Right.
Because,
Or you-
oh,
or
that's
you
true.
could-
right.
You could,
Walk around
scream
peacefully in the community.
Yeah,
Right.
no problem. Didn't care what you look like,
Right.
how you sound, or nothing. Because the royal family, in which I didn't like that so much.
Right, being a royal
because
family.
they had a king, you know.
Black
Black Bolt was the king.
Black Bolt was
Medusa
king.
was the queen.
They're a royal family.
Yeah, shit. Being a mutant because you're living amongst humans.
But
Just
the
being a
mutant-
regular mutant was problematic
Right.
Right.
because you was living among humans.
And
Your
you-
family
and
was a human.
You had to separate from
Right.
everybody. See, you were odd.
There's mutants all over.
Yeah, true.
Right.
Good and bad mutants.
Yeah.
Was
And
it,
he-
I
and
guess
he-
they were bad in humans.
People argued that the royal family was bad because, you know, Atlan had a hierarchy of,
Sure,
they would
right.
put all the
Right.
humans who had weak powers at like the bottom level, like
Well,
peasant
they
level.
were underground. They had some people that was underground who didn't
have good
have
powers.
the powers.
Right, right.
You know, but they stayed
Yeah.
bad amongst themselves.
Right.
Mhm.
But if you were a bad mutant, you were hunted down.
Right, because
You
you
had
was
to deal
a
with
danger.
police.
You was a danger to everybody.
Well, even some of your family members, a lot of mutants had the story of them hurting their family members.
Jean
When they
Grey.
first got their powers.
Right. If you're a mutant, you got to run of a bigger world
The freedom is what I would like as a mutant.
as a mutant. But you didn't really have freedom because humans were always at it.
Right, and that's one of the reasons people suppress their powers.
Well, I mean, well, speaking of powers, though,
You got to think about the risk.
now the power set, being a mutant did they have a better power set?
I think they had better odds of having.
No,
being more
no,
powerful.
no, they didn't have a better
I
power.
mean, so
because
look,
you had a whole,
Black Bolt is strong.
yeah, later
Right.
that they, to a certain extent, made
Inhuman.
Inhuman.
With the Terrigen Mist.
With the Terrigen Mist.
So-
And that's
and-
also the risk of becoming an inhuman because
That's
if
right.
you don't have that gene,
If you don't have the
it's
gene,
over.
You
it's
die.
over for you.
You
Right.
die. I don't know if I want to be confined.
That's what I
That's the
say.
issue.
I don't think I want to be confined, and not only confined under a monarchy
Yeah.
Right.
instead of like what we got
And
as
that-
a president.
And that created the tension because everybody wanted to be the
Right.
king
the king.
of the
Yeah.
Inhuman.
Everything he would do, a lot of them disagreed with it,
yeah.
Yeah.
but they kept him in line.
No
But see,
doubt.
you could be a mutant,
Right.
and if your powers weren't so obvious,
Yeah.
You can hide.
you could rise to be anything you wanted to
Right.
be.
Yeah, and that was kind of the fight between like the
Mystique,
and then like,
Charles.
well, Charles and other people like, hey, I want to just be myself.
Mm-hmm.
And Mystique would always have to fight to be herself.
So,
But Charles wanted her to kind of be in the royal of
Right.
looking like a so-called normal human.
So-
She is a perfect example of
Yeah,
a mutant that can conceal herself.
conceal
as a
herself,
human.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, being a mutant also is your powers manifested at different times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See, some people didn't get their mutant powers until, well, they say puberty,
Right.
but some of them was grown
Yeah, when they got their power.
when they really got their powers, and that's what made a lot of villains
Some of them were young.
real
Right.
young, and that caused a lot of trouble too.
Right.
So
because if you were young,
Mhm.
didn't know how to use your powers, you could cause a lot of destruction.
Inhumans, X-Men. I think I'd rather go on and be a mutant if I'll take my chances.
I'd rather be a mutant too.
I don't want to be
Yeah, I'd
subject to
I'd go to mutants too.
But even if you had to be a mutant like Toad,
well,
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Toad
yeah.
could be a regular person too.
Yeah, he put on little glasses.
You
and
know-
hide out.
you
nah,
know,
man, he still
no.
had the little scales on his face.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's all right. Look like you got a skin condition.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Got your glasses. Well, I'm sensitive to light.
yeah, yeah.
You know, Scott was going
You
to
could be
school.
like Caliban or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Caliban. Yeah, I'm just an albino.
Yeah, yeah,
You
can
know,
do different.
you could do different things
Okay,
as a
okay.
mutant that you You could do that as an Inhuman, but you are very, very limited.
I agree with X-Men. You X-Men?
Yeah, it makes sense.
You X-Men?
Sure.
But I'm not X-Men, but we're talking about mutants.
Mutants.
Rather.
We're talking about
mutants. Mutant.
Yeah, X-Men was what they was after they got
Yeah.
older and they wanted to do something to help society.
Right.
Well, we'll say we're going to recommend being a mutant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather being an Inhuman.
Would you
Because
rather be a
if it's
mutant?
would you rather? Matter of fact, we ain't gonna say who.
Nope.
Y'all let us know what would you rather
Yeah, what
be.
would you
Yeah.
rather be?
Would you rather be? All right.
And we're gonna say like and subscribe.
Like
Mike's
I said,
Mike's out.
We're gonna
Yeah,
revisit
agree
this.
To be Muslim. To be a
The
Muslim.
X-Men. The X-Men.
Well, you can be. They had Muslim.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're all kind.